All right, y'all. What up, tribe? It's your girl, Raji. I would like to thank you for joining my podcast, The Kush Concierge, Something for the People, where the evolved hustlers come to learn more about root work, conjure, tarot, culture, astrology, and everything in between. So if you are just now joining me, if you're a new subscriber, thank you for listening, like, follow, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. But I am doing a tribe talk today in regards to my spiritual awakening and the sequence of events that happened during that time. Just a little bit of my lore, and also to bring awareness to things that need to be made aware, especially if you are a mom, you are a woman. I feel like it's just certain shit people need to know. And I held back a very long time, and I didn't speak about it because of the things that they were doing towards me in the background. And just the fact that they just she was like, anyway. So, but why am I speaking now? Because like I told y'all in the previous, if you checked out the first part, if you haven't, go check it out, because there is a reason why. There's lore, there's foundation to how all of this came to be. Okay, so check it out. In the previous episode, I do discuss the situation with my family, how that played out, how I even ended up around the people I was around. Okay, so check that out, because if you're going through situations with your family, if you're going through a situation where you like the black sheep, or people try to distance swap and hurt you, and you know what I'm saying, having spiritual experience and foresight, go check that episode out. But anyway, back to the story. So, preface, obviously, spiritual awakening. They got me committed. I made it out. I tried to restart my business. I caught a major blessing. But I ended up going to my ex for assistance. And he used him and his family, not all of them, and his community, not all of them. When I say community, I mean friends. My bad, y'all. I ain't up here because I don't want to fuck up. But the friend group. And I say that because these are people that grew up together. These are all people in the same place they've been in all their fucking life. So that's why I use the word community. Anyway. So yeah, I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave until he was ready for me to go. And I really need people to understand that. I could not leave until he was ready to discard me. And when he was through with me, when he found my replacement, that's when he kind of let up. And he didn't let up then, because like I said, he tried to bring his mama in. I'm so happy that didn't work out. And he ended up bringing the cousin in. And the cousin became the handler. The cousin became the watcher. While he traveled back and forth to Georgia, Mississippi, Las Vegas, they had a time. But yeah, he pretended he drove my truck everywhere. He basically funded his entire look on me, on my business, right then and there. And it was just so low down. I came into town and I tried to start a business, and I had the money to do so. And you know what I'm saying? I was trying to pick myself up after what they did to me. I was having to try buy all my supplies over. If you in the business, if you building a fucking kit, you know what it is. You know how much it costs. So what happened, and that hurt financially and, whatever. So I had to come back and put money back into my business. He was dating women that were doing somewhat of the same thing. And I just feel like I said, it was jealousy at the end of the day. He's very jealous. He's a very envious spirit. And not just towards me. When people were looking up those PPP loans, I remember being in the bed with him one day, and, everybody was like, you can look it up or whatever, how much a person got, etc. And him and his friend group was really having dialogue. They was really having issues with the fact that they was getting PPP loans, and he didn't know, or felt like people were acting funny. And it was just weird. After that spiritual awakening, I really truly saw him. Like, I saw all of them. Like, just like my eyes just open. Like, it was like I was like up from like a fucking haze or something. I don't know. So, very messy, very like type of nigga talk to his mama every morning type shit. Anyway, so what else happened? So again, with the destiny swapping, like, I had to give everybody business advice. I had to talk to people. I helped people start businesses. They would like come to me for advice all the time. Like, and just one particular instant, like, I love art. I'm an artist as well, and I had brought me a Basquiat jacket for my birthday, and his birthday is a month after mine. And so he seen I had a jacket, so he was like, oh, I like that jacket. And mind you, I actually got the jacket out the men's section in a small, because they didn't have this jacket in the women's section. So I was like, all right, whatever. I ordered him the jacket. The jacket goes like to his folks' house, and because at the time we were still looking for a place, so it had to go be shipped somewhere else. So he calls me and he goes, yeah, my mom, like, she wants you to like buy her one of the jackets. And I felt like that shit was so fucking weird, because like, why would you want the same exact jacket? Like, we're throuple. Like, is that right? Threesome, throuple. And she just like, the closer we got, she got like weirdly pushy. Like, even in moments, like, she's always been like that. Like, mind you, I've known these like over a decade. Whenever it would seem like, obviously this was an act on his part, I believe now, but whenever it would seem like he would be getting himself together, doing the right thing, all of a sudden she would pop up. It would be some sort of emergency. It would be like something that had to be, like, she would aggressively insert herself. Like, she was practically trying to move in with us, wanting to wear the same clothes. Like, she was aggressive. Like, she would pop up unannounced all the time. She would, and prior to these, like, we had a pretty decent interaction. Like, I didn't really have no issues with her for real. Like, but I started to notice things, and then after I had that premonition, you know, obviously my antennas are up, so I'm watching her, I'm paying more attention to her type energy, right? So I started to notice that she would do little things or say little things that were inappropriate. And I would be like, that's interesting. And it got so bad that I had to start addressing it and like standing up for my daughter in a way, because, you know, it was like breaking her down to build her up. Like, I saw it happening and I tried my damnedest to stop her. And what's crazy is, like, later on down the line when the conversation was had, but I always knew they was talking in the background anyway. But when he came out and he was like, she don't want to talk to you anyway, you know, trying to say how I was being towards her when she called herself mediating, but she was really being two-faced. And I was like, well, damn, okay, like, damn, like, they've been discussing me, but little do she know, you know what I'm saying? Little did he know. Weird. Okay, so we have, like, obviously all this mess is going on, things are happening in between, instigating, people being nosy, he cutting the butt naked ass fool, and eventually everything just blows up. So him and this woman, like, he decides she's the one. Okay, but according to his cousin, he only decided she was the one because he was so knee deep in the shit that he had done to me. Like, he was basically trying to, like, escape his karma. So basically what they did was they concocted a plan to, like, make it seem like me and the cousin was messing around, and came up with a whole bunch of rumors and bullshit, and, like, saying we was trying to, like, X him out of the bed. Like, they came up with a whole dialogue just because he knew that they had fucked up so that he had to totally try to crush me. Like, he'd been slandering me for years. Like, I had no idea, like, the things he was saying behind my back. And this is somebody, like I said, you could be sleeping with an enemy, baby. You never really know. I mean, literally talking about me. Like, so many things were happening around that time. Like, he was a true fucking hater. He was an op. He's still an op. Anyway, So yeah, so we have this. While he's courting the new one, he's still coming in and out the house. Cause mind you, that he's like saying I had to rely on him. I was paying the bills. I fronted the money, did whatever I needed to do for assistance. Cause he'll say that too, like, oh, you had to get assistance and da 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 da. Of course, cause you was just draining me dry and you were stealing from me. You weren't working, and what was I supposed to do? I did what I had to do to get shit done. It's weird. So I got help, and well, I helped him get help. You feel what I'm saying? You realize how delusional you have to be to think that way. You feel what I'm saying? So I got him some help, which would help me at the end of the day. But I figured, like, he would, when I was told and advised that he was dating somebody else, I thought he was just gonna leave. That ain't what he did. He tried to stick around till she moved to Alabama. Like, she was living in Georgia. They were looking for somewhere to stay while he was staying with me and driving my car to Georgia to meet her. And they traveling and doing, yeah, okay, thanks. You know what I'm saying? Yo. And he just left me there all summer with, like, all his children. Even the grown ones. They come in and out. Because it was, air quotes, his house. But everybody knew he wasn't paying the bills. Like, come on, man. So, anyway, finally, I think it was around Thanksgiving, right? So, finally, I just get fed the fuck up. Because he was continually coming in and out, making excuses, like why he couldn't give me my car, why this was that. We were still technically doing business together before him and his cousin tried to, like, X me. They ain't try to X me out. They did X me out behind my back after I had invested my time, my money, my services. Like, if you know me, you was following me around that time, I was filming content around building that business, okay? Every day. Like, we was together every day making money. When they started to get contracts and stuff like that, him and his cousin X'd me out, and then his cousin and his son went and signed up for an LLC together and opened another business behind my back, okay? I tried to work. Like, I hate that shit when people like, you don't want to work. That's a lie. I tried to do my part. They were supposed to pay me. They didn't pay us our last, like, check. They did so much shit. Like, they kept one of the business phones, and I discovered when we were in Atlanta that when I called T-Mobile, like, they were calling in trying to reactivate the phones I would suspend the line and they would reactivate phones. So they basically, like, still use my phone for like a year after. Like, I felt like I had to keep until I think the customer service, like, I explained to them and they finally helped me like cancel the line in its entirety. That's where my line comes in. Don't shit where you eat. Everybody want to come to me and they want to start a business and they want to do this and they want to do that. When I tell you I have had multiple fucking experiences of relatives, lovers, even my ex-husband help you start a business, then you come build yourself up, then you have no use for me. Or if I don't do it the way that you want me, you want a partner, but you want me to do it this type of way, that type of way. Like, there's no real camaraderie or, like, you know what I'm saying, true balance when it comes to the execution of said business. But you know what I'm saying, you don't want to pay me type shit. So the woman that he's right now, like, she knew what was going on and she kept inserting herself. She built herself up. She said that she could do my job better than me and yada yada yada. So there are some of them I have sympathy for, and there are others that I don't, for those particular reasons. Like, you knew when he was traveling, he was not coming to you in his own car. You knew that we had a business together. You knew that shit. So, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you knew exactly what was going down. You were not blind to the fact. But everybody thinks they're always going to get the better version. And they never fucking do. Like, he's here for a good time, not a long time type person. So, anyway. Well, I take that back, because he collects you. Like, if he can come back, he will, but he will put you in his back pocket like he did with somebody else. So what happened during that time? Okay, so Thanksgiving, I told y'all, side quest. So Thanksgiving rolls around. Was it Thanksgiving or Christmas? It was some holiday rolled around. One of those two major holidays. I could look back on my Snapchat and tell you exactly what it was, but I just don't feel like it. So what leads up to this brawl is he goes up to his family's house for the holidays, and me and my two are at the house, and I don't even have a car. Like, so he took my car. Like, he got this big ass family. Like, he took my car, didn't even come get the girls to go to Thanksgiving with his family, and didn't bring me my car to go home to see my own family. If I did want to go see a relative, I couldn't, right? So that's what I mean when I say isolate, like extreme isolation during that time. And you got to be careful about that when you get in a relationship with somebody and your world becomes all about them. You know what I'm saying? You constantly, every day, you in their hood, you at their folks' house, da-da-da-da-da, but they're not in your world. They're not around your friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, every time it would be something with my friends, he would, like, sabotage it. Like, my homegirl, she got married, and he like showed up late as fuck, and I was like late for the wedding, and like when he got there, like it was mad uncomfortable. Like it just was like he fucked it up. Like that's the type of shit he would do, right? So like stay out all night, show up late, then we try to go to the wedding, and then you like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? And it's not like he didn't have resources, he didn't have family. Remember I mentioned that he had the motorcycle when I first arrived? He sold a motorcycle, or so he says, or tucked it away somewhere and just took my fucking truck from me, right? Okay. And she even suggested, the mother, that I just give him my truck. Just give it to him. Like, that's how they bully people. She would do things like, no, I have a whole portion just for her. Just pause. Let me keep going with the story. So, because I got a whole about that. But so what happened? So he's on the hill, whatever, right? And he's in my car, right? And his new girlfriend is up there, and she's cooking for his family, and they're just having a great holiday, her and his children, you know what I'm saying? But me and my children at home, but you in my car somewhere, like, you feel what I'm saying? And everybody knew. One person called me. Out of all those people, one person called. One person. And so yeah, they tell me we have this whole conversation. They give me the whole rundown and tell me about what's going on. And I, at that point, just decide that I'm to my limit after this conversation. I was to my limit before that, but after the way he talked to me and the way like he was like basically speaking to me like as to run away and cover myself and run away, etc., etc. The only reason I didn't hear him all the way out was because he expressed that at one point he wished that it could have been him. Like, why was I with him? Like, it didn't make sense. Like, he couldn't see why I would. Which I've been at, like, even his friends would come up to me and say shit like that. So it wasn't something I was like not used to, but I took certain things he said and I like spit out the rest because I feel like some of it was ego. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna, whatever. So, he tells me he makes it seem like he's dangerous. His cousin's dangerous and I just get away from them. And I'm like, okay, so he struck a nerve in me and I decided that I was going to rise up. I didn't give a fuck, da-da-da-da. So I go through the process of trying to get my truck back from this boy. Like, we are having knockout, brought out. Yeah. And his mom is on one hand pretending she fucking with me, but on the other hand, she really everywhere else in everybody else's face and building him up at the same time. The mother always knows. Always. The mother knows. The sisters know. Okay? So what happened? So yeah, I'm trying to get in the car. We fall out. We have like a big altercation to the point where his mom and one of his cousin's wife, they have to come over to like neutralize the fucking situation, because it's going down basement 411 on the timestamp. Because I'm trying to detach, I'm trying to get my independence, and I'm also mad as hell around this time because like you've sabotaged the fuck out of me. Like, what is really going on? You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, we have words, we have a moment, and I called like the mother, etc., because you know it needs to be de-escalated. It's getting physical. And so he leaves. They leave. They take him with them, and they take my daughter with them, because obviously if the children are there, they're hysterical, you know, they're fighting, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're fighting. And so I let Marley go. I let my daughter go. I let her go. I did. Now, I'm discharged. Like, she took advantage. She did. She took advantage. You know how they say when people attack, like how like abusers pick their prey when they feel like, you know, it's a stressful situation. Maybe the parents aren't paying attention, you know, whatever, right? Like, that's how I felt. She came and swooped in like a savior at a moment, a very pivotal moment. And she used that as an opportunity to act out some of her fantasies, I guess, with my child. And so my child is there, and when she came back home to me after she spent the night or whatever up there, you know, obviously they pretending like they helping me, you know, while the situation died down. Just let the baby just come up here. And when she got back home, like, my other daughter had got us some waist beads. She got us some waist beads. And we all had waist beads. And some type of way I noticed Marta didn't have her waist beads on anymore. And these ain't like real waist beads, like for weight loss. Like, it was just a fun, like, colors. Like, it was the elastic string, like, but I'm just like, typically those waist beads, not like the real waist beads. So she had them in like cute little girly colors, and she just wanted something that her sister had, you know, whatever. She wanted to be a part of the gang. So, you know, her sister gave us some waist beads. And when she got home, I noticed she had a waist beads on, and I was like, "Why was the waist beads at?" And she's just like acting weird. She's acting weird. And I started to like ask her, like, what's going on with you, etc., etc. And she breaks down and tells me that she's basically been violated after getting out of the shower by somebody that's supposed to be watching her, nurturing her, and taking care of her. Now, obviously, you know, I believed her the first time, and I believed her because now this is where the spirituality don't be fun. This is where the spirituality part don't be fun. I predicted this earlier, but it was just a different kid. And I could see things on her, but of course they gaslight you, so I'm just like, you overreacting. That's just, you know, da-da-da, you know how they do. And so I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to get the timelines together. So basically I questioned my kid, and she broke down and told me what happened. Like, she wasn't coerced, no shit like that. Like, who does that? Like, that was my response when they, like, said that. I was like, what? Who the fuck? Like, she really tried to, like, his mother really tried to make it seem like I hated her so much that I would accuse her of that. Now, let's talk about this creature. Because, like, and I know y'all can tell, like, I'm trying my best to, like, keep it. Okay, so obviously nobody believed. And the way he acted, like, people talked about, even him, talked about how I left, and I didn't, like, everybody thought I was leaving because of the bitch, right? Because he got in a relationship, and I was just bitter, and nobody knew I left because my child had been assaulted. Nobody knew that. I let everybody think, like, but all those things happened, you know, all those things happened, like, around the same time. But I didn't decide that I was just finna leave, like, until that happened. And he brushed it the fuck off. Like, he didn't acknowledge it. Like, he was acting crazy. I emailed him and told him exactly what happened. And I wanted him to handle it because that's his family. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, hello, like, what's next? Basically, that's what I was on. Like, okay, so what's next? Because what the fuck? Like, we as parents need to sit down. We need to have a conversation. We need, like, with her, like, something. We need to have dialogue. He was so deep in his hatred for me, like, he couldn't see past, like, the fact that we as parents needed to sit down and, like, have a conversation. Like, what was going to be our next steps, right? Now, this is where I, you know, like I said, I'm like, okay, somewhere along the lines, we have to have a meeting of the minds. Like, we have to, like, all this shit's going on. But at this time, I'm like, okay, we need to have a conversation because this is serious. Like, this, fuck all the other shit. This is serious. So that's why. And I can come to, like, terms like that. I will, you know, be civil. So I want to have a civil conversation with my baby daddy about the fact that, you know, whatever, that his child was violated. And he basically just ignored me. He went on with his situation. They acted like that shit never happened. They discredited the fuck out of her, like they do most children. And you know, when the child come, you would like to think that people believe immediately, but they don't. I had never experienced this before. In my own situation. So, you know, but I see things and I'm like, okay, when you see those stories and people come and they tell their stories, you be like, okay, nobody listened. So I was determined. I was like, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna hear you, because I know in the back of my mind I already saw this shit. And I'm putting the pieces together. And then, like, during this time, like, so much erratic ass shit was happening. It was plausible. Like, in addition to her just being terribly fucking inappropriate 24/7, discussing the children's bodies, you know, being in the groomy energy with all of the kids, like, it was just weird energy, right? It's like, you know how black families are. Like, you know, they'll just say, oh, that's just them, and disregard it. So I feel like everybody just overlooks, like, the inappropriateness because, oh, that's just them, until they do some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, my concerns was falling on deaf ears, for real. So we are having a moment, and I'm not really fucking with her for real, but I'm really just trying to keep peace. It's a lot of shit going on, and we end up at the same house. She ends up coming where I am. And the same thing happened with her that happened with the situation with my uncle, them. Like, it was like an out-of-body experience. She was saying crazy, wild-ass shit. And it was like everybody acted like they was frozen, like they didn't know what the fuck was going on. She told me exactly what she was gonna do. Nobody knows that. So when me and him like have dialogue and shit, like that day she told me, this is me going back, and people like, well, what you mean she told you what she was gonna do? Okay. Scene 1. We in a shot house, and in some of the shot houses they have TVs. There's this movie called The Johnsons, and I think that's what it's called. But if you know what it's called, and I'm gonna give you the description, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So in the movie, the dad and the son have some sort of incestuous relationship, and like the mother just stands by and let it happen, and like the son grows up and then starts to abuse the dad. Like, she played this movie in a room full of people. Like, everybody talk about how much that movie disturbs them. So that was like, okay, so the comments, right? Then the movie. So I'm like, oh, like, Spidey senses, like, that's weird. Like, why you want people to see that? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, at the time, I was like, the fuck? Like, don't nobody want to watch this at the Shy House, girl. We supposed to be drinking and having fun. You playing some weirdo ass shit and trying to make us watch this incestuous ass shit, like, in front of everybody? What? So, ears perked. So, okay, I remember I was just telling y'all, she came where I was. And then it's like the room froze, and she was like talking, and she goes into like, she's inappropriate as fuck. She goes into this story about how this guy and his girlfriend was abusing the children, and she talks about how the girl was a teacher or some shit like that, and the girl had cupcakes made for the class. And the story goes, like, there's some shit she said she saw on the news, right? Just, like, those are the type of conversations she was wanting to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the dude ejaculates on the cupcakes, and the girl let the children either at the school or somebody caught wind of it. Charges was filed. And she talks about how the girl was allowing the dude to do things to the kids, like, type shit. Like, so she's like, just gotta have this conversation. Like, she was just saying, like, weird ass shit, talking about child abuse. Like, it was weird. So prior to this, like, I straight out was like, well, if somebody ever did to my fucking child, like, I was like, that shit's not cute. That shit's nasty. That shit's weird. Like, I'm speaking out. Like, ugh. Like, why are we having this conversation? Everybody else just sitting there like, dum, dum, dum. I think one other person in the room kind of, like, spoke up. Maybe one other person. Everybody else was quiet as a mouse. So, yeah, that weird instance. So then, like, the situation, right, happens, like, finally manifests itself or gets ready to manifest. I smell that shit coming. He comes, he's not staying there, but his stuff is still at the house. Now this is prior to us getting in this big ass fight, right? Like, I'm skipping around a little bit, so put it together where you can. Prior to us I had another premonition. My spidey senses was going, the download. So I'm telling them, do not leave my child alone with her. I really don't want her around her, period. But damn sure don't leave her alone. She can't spend the night. You know, I'm giving the rundown because after all this, I'm not really letting her go. So the cousin approaches me and he's like, well, you know, he really wants to see her. You know, I'm going up to his dad's store and I'm just going to take her and, you know, they're going to spend some time together, see whatever. So he wears me down about that shit. Tells me that he's going to be responsible for her. And, you know, he's not gonna take, you know, nothing's gonna happen. He gonna bring her back to me when they done having their family time or whatever, everything. So in the spirit of, like, trying to, like, they holler, you try to keep your kids from the dad. In the spirit of not doing that, I say, okay, make sure you bring her back. Do not, she's not, they weren't going to the grandma house anyway. That's why I was like, but just in case, you know, because they all stay in the same areas. I was like, just in case, do not. Like, I'm giving him the rundown, like, bring her back. You know what I'm saying? It never needed a babysitter. I've never gone to them and said, hey, can you watch my kid? Like, I just don't do that. So I was like, just bring her back when she's done. Please tell me why he tricks me, gives her completely to her dad, and not even the main girlfriend he with this day. This his side girl he with. He with a whole nother woman. They go out to eat. They questioning the Marley. They trying to, I guess, I don't know what he called himself trying to do. What he always do, I guess, be grimy. But so I'm calling. Nobody's answering the phone for me. I realize that something is wrong. You know, it's taking them too long to come back. The cousin hasn't brought her home. So I'm like, So I end up like rushing to try. Like, I just decided I was gonna get in my truck and go get her. Now this is after me and him like brawls. I had to call the police to get my car back, all type of shit. Like I just said, I said it earlier, I think. But anyway, so finally I got my car, right? And this is like right before I left. And I go on over there and I show up and I'm like, I'm calling the mom. I'm like, I'm here to pick my child up. I know she in there. You know, because he's not answering the phone, so I have to call the mom. And, and yeah, no, baby, I predicted that shit. And at the time, like I said, people will gaslight you. Like, they knew that I could see them and they went into full attack mode. I truly feel that way. She was seen. So she started building her story. She started building whatever, and just very dark energy. Very dark. So for the longest, I held off on that part of the end of that story because my daughter, that was her story to tell, and she was listening, I believe, to something I was watching, and she's like, you know what, I now feel comfortable enough for you to tell this story, because people need to know what they did. So I leave. All of that blows up. Everything happens. He's ushering the new woman in, soft launching her to everybody. And I get no reaction. We fall out. So I just leave. I pack up and I don't tell nobody I'm leaving to the last minute because I don't want nobody fucking with me. And I just leave. I never left because of that. I left because of the abuse that happened with my child. I got the hell on. So fast forward. I'm being guilt tripped left and right about the fact that he's not seeing her. I allow him to see her because at the time of my resurgence, it had been almost a year. It had been almost a year that I'd been silent and nobody knew where I was. So she, at the time, he wasn't the aggressor in her eyes, So she was wanting to see him, like I said, they got that big family camaraderie thing going. So she was missing that shit. And I allowed him to come to see her. And he came to see her. We had a conversation before I allowed me and him, not me and a third party. This time it was me and him. And he was like, well, you know what? Now, mind you, keep in mind, now he never answered the email. I'm thinking we finna get the chance to have this conversation. Finally, right? He never answered that email. So then it was around like July 4th or whatever. And they always have like a big family reunion or whatever. And she really wanted to go. He hyped that shit up while she was visiting. Now, mind you, when he left with her saying, so, okay, hold on, let me go back. Because you have to understand how manipulative. So he comes and he's like saying he's going to pop fireworks with her in my yard, right? But he ends up staying the night, and the next day was like he didn't want to go outside and pop the firecrackers in my neighborhood. It's like mostly like white neighborhood, very quiet, very, it wasn't in the hood. It was like put up, so he was like, nah, I can't, pop those fireworks out here. I'm gonna pop the fireworks. I'm gonna take her on the hill. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pop the fireworks on the hill, and I'm gonna bring her back. You know what I'm saying? Run some errands. We living in the same area now. I've moved back because my children are expressing that, like I said, this all happened over a series of years, y'all. So I've moved back. My children have expressed interest and wanted to be back around their friends and their family. We was tucked away in Georgia by ourselves. They didn't like that, after being a part of such a big community. So I said, okay, it's cool, but I'm not finna live amongst them. But I will, what I'm saying? We could be in the arena where you could at least, if you want to be picked up, you want to be visited, you don't have to make a 2-3 hour drive to do that. So, I showed empathy for that situation at the time. Anyway. And so, like I said, he comes to get her. They get ready to go. And, he approaches me. We have dialogue before I even let her go. Acknowledged a few things, but not like a full conversation, but still like just enough to make you comfortable, like everything's good. He told me that it was between me and him, you know what I'm saying? It was just me and him in terms of like Marley, you know what I'm saying, our child. So he was basically, he basically just made me feel comfortable enough to let her go. So they get where they going, and he's like, well, I'll bring her back in the morning. She wants to stay and play with her cousins, and I think they're gonna have a sleepover. So I'm gonna let her go with my sister because, da da da. I'm like, well, she left here to really play. She don't got herself together. I need to do her hair, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, it's cool. Da 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 da. I'll, she's going to be taken care of. Everything's fine. Da 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 da. Okay. One day turned into 2 day. 2 day turned into 3 day. 3 day coming to 4 day. Every single day he's got an excuse why he can't make it. I'm like, now, mind you, whether he telling me or not, I'm like, you're in a relationship. I know you, and you're a liar. So, whatever. You don't got a lot of kick it, okay? You ain't got a lot of kick it, Craig. That's basically what I'm telling him. Like, you cool. We done been through a lot. I just want to bear the hedge. I don't got time. And before you skip, did I try to do this method with everybody else who did me the same way? Yes. I gave everybody else the same chances. He ain't the only one. You know what I'm saying? So please don't make it like that. He's not the only one. And so yeah, anyway, after that situation happened, I knew what had happened. I thought like we were going to get a chance, like I said, to have some sort of dialogue with our child. That never happened. So he takes her, and eventually, like I said, the days pass on, and he dodges me. He ducks and he dodges. He ducks and he fucking dodges. And one day he just finally says, hey, well, we finna have a family reunion, and I want her to be around. She's been gone about a year, hey, let her come. I'm like, okay, Red, like, just bring her to get her hair done and get her clothes. We're not in a whole nother state, so just come, whatever. Let me check on her, let me talk to, she's a little girl, you know what I'm saying? And after all that, like, come on now. So I'm like, there's no reason for her to continue to spend the night. That was my thought process. Like, she can attend the events, but there's no reason for her to just stay. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring her back. She doesn't have anything. She's not ready. Then that's when the mask fell off. He got hostile. He stopped answering my phone calls. Like, long story short story long, my child was gone for like a month. And he gaslit and bullshitted the entire time. They went so far as to use their connections to register her for school. She was homeschooled. They went so far as to register her for school. Like, he basically kidnapped her. right for like he tried to like right up under my nose. And I say that because when I talk to her, she feels like she was kidnapped. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not just coming off some dome shit. Like, that's how she felt. Because they were not wanting to bring her back to me. I was not in a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no reason for him to feel as though she needed to be smart. His excuse was she been gone all that time and it was his turn. And, you know, and I'm like, but this ain't the conversation me and you was having before you left. This ain't the conversation, like, anybody that know him would tell you he's a weekend dad. He's not a dad that's finna keep his children, like, 24/7. Like, 7 days a week. So I'm like, where are you coming from with all this? Now, this is relevant. This is relevant to the story. Okay? Hang tight. So I'm like, where are you coming from with all this shit, bruh? Like, what do you mean? We just had a discussion. Now, all of a sudden, she could just stay? So I started doing my own little bit of research, and come to find out, the same girl that was there last time, she's still around. They're actually staying together. Like, they got, like, weirdo-ass energy. Like, my kid comes back telling me after the debacle that she's got pictures of her. She never even met her. Why is that relevant? Destiny swapping. You are in the same career field. You got your children. You trying to do something, and it's weird. And I like, okay, so anyway. So, yeah, I looked for him and I looked for her. Nobody wanted to tell me where she stayed. I tried to go, like, figure out where my child is. Like, he kept, like, ducking and dodging me till I had to call the spirits. Only when I called the spirits did I get some act right. I try to keep that shit neutral. And that's the only time I got some air right. And when I say call the spirits, I mean I lit a candle and I prayed and I put a petition under it. And I'd be damned if she didn't show up. Not too long after that. Like, every day. Every day I prayed. Every day. That, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew what I knew, and I felt some type of way that he was putting her around her abuser and just leaving her. Like, he didn't believe, or he didn't want to believe that's what happened. He was totally against it. He like, it was just a no. It never had, like, it was that type of energy. Like, you're lying. She would never. Now, my child done gave a blow by blow of what this person did. Blow by blow of what she did. Like, who makes that up? Then she, what did she do? So, let's see, made it up. Well, anyway, the point is, she sits her ass up and she pretends like she's basically they was trying to cover their ass. Basically, that's what they was trying to do. I hadn't come out publicly with the story, but I was still acknowledging the story. They were doing things like calling defects on me. They was trying to trip me up because of that situation. Of what I knew, but that story never came out. Like, I they was trying to, like, silence me, like, stop it. They didn't want that to come out. And so when he had her, whatever, that was their way. She didn't switch her story. I feel like maybe he would not maybe have tried to get her registered for school and, like, take her, but if she had changed her story. But when she got around them, she didn't change her story. And I noticed because she had gotten in a little bit of trouble. And he called me on FaceTime. Now, you would think, okay, y'all still co-parent, whatever. I'm being, like, asking him to talk to my child. He wouldn't even let me talk to her. They wouldn't let me talk to her. They know. So this particular day, he's trying to prove a point. The point he's trying to prove is that because she's homeschooled, this is why she's doing what she's doing. Like, that was the point. Like, she needs to be in school. You know, they act like they ain't never heard of a person being homeschooled before. They act like it is a foreign fucking concept. It's so annoying. So, yeah. He calls me on FaceTime to basically try to be funny and say, like, that part. But what happens is I then take the chance, my only chance, to say, hey, like, basically he had already told me that she admitted that she lied to him, da-da-da-da. But we never had this conversation together, okay? Him and I never had that conversation like as parents with our child. He went off somewhere and had that conversation in private. You know what I'm saying? And so when she gets on the phone, I say, why you lie and say that? You know? Because obviously, hell, if I was the other people, I'd be mad too. You feel me? So I'm like, why did you say that? And she basically retells the same fucking story. And instead of saying that, the only thing she changed was she said that maybe it was a mistake. Not that it didn't fucking happen, but that maybe her hands slipped and it was a mistake. She never fucking said it didn't happen. She never said it didn't happen. She never said it didn't happen. And my voice is shaking because that shit pisses me off so bad, because he made her be around those people for a fucking month to try to redo her memory and convince her and like intimidate her. And when he couldn't do that, they decided that they would just outright take her from up under my nose. The girlfriend was in on it. The sisters was in on it. Like they had connections to the school system. So they admitted her to school with no records, no nothing. She just boom. I'm looking for her. They lied to me, told me that he lied and said he had moved. They didn't actually live in where they were living in Birmingham. He said that they were in Huntsville. Was it Huntsville or Tuscaloosa? One of them. I'm prepared because I'm trying to go get to my child. He's going on all. She just want to spend time with her brothers and sisters. Whole time he really just trying to make her recant her story. And like I said, when he realized that he couldn't do that, they took the initiative to enroll her in school without my consent and without any proper documentation, just because the sister is and the girlfriend or wife, whatever she is within the school system. So they took advantage of their positions. They took advantage. And so yeah, like this girl is like this woman. She just felt like she could just boop. You know me. So I flipped the fuck out when I realized what's going on. And like I said, I prayed to my spirits and they moved and he brought her home. And, you know, for the longest, as we near almost another fucking hour, for the longest, I was just like, what could I have done different? Like, I've mulled over what I could have done differently. But at the very core of it, you know, you should never blame yourself for being abused or gaslit or however. You know, you should never blame yourself for that. You should not, because it will tear you up. You know, the moments that I felt like I could fight, I did, you know. But when it came to that situation, I really felt like when it 444, I felt like at least when it came to her, we were on the same page, and we weren't. And he basically brought her back, but he's just, we don't speak. He has no interaction, refused to acknowledge what she did. And just like it never, like I said, just like my family with that situation, like it never happened. But I foresaw that. And I guess, yeah, so if what I could do different, I would trust my intuition the first time. I would not doubt nothing and nobody. If your spirits tell you that some shit going on and some of the milk ain't clean, some of the milk ain't motherfucking clean. Because they tried to gaslight me and made me feel like I was crazy because of that situation that happened. So I doubted myself. I doubted what I knew to be like spots. Like, okay, this is the type of mind games they would play with me. In addition to the car. So his cousin had gave us a TV because his cousin was moving out of the state. And his cousin came one night. He wasn't there, but his cousin had dropped off like the furniture and some stuff there, and it happened he told me, and for everything I'm saying, somebody else was around at that time, so none of this, every last bit of this is the truth. But so anyway, his cousin was like, hey, you want this TV? The person I was supposed to give it to is not, answering the phone, and I gotta go. We say yes. His son was staying up for the summer, helped me move the TV into the room that I was sleeping in. And there was another TV downstairs that they had brought from his folks' house for the kids to watch, or it was just really in the room downstairs where the boys and stuff would stay, that little man cave area. So those TVs look vastly different. Like, one is old, one is new. Please fucking tell me why she decided that she wanted the TV that I had, and she sent him to bully me out of it. And when I refused, she then tried to come and convince me, as well as my children, that the TV was actually hers. She went on and on. And there are sometimes when I see a person and I know they ain't shit and I know they lying, and I'll just kind of like, So at the whole time, I'm like, I know for a fact this ain't your fucking TV. Like, why are you gaslighting me? What's wrong with you, lady? You know what I'm saying? Creepy shit like that. Or the shit trying to convince me or brainwash me to give him my truck. Trying to brainwash the police and tell the police that, oh, you thought just because, maybe, just maybe, you thought it was both. Like, the little brainwashy, messy shit she would do to, like, make you feel like what you was, nah, this ain't reality type energy, right? So that's just one example of like the little mind game she would play. So he got that shit natural. He got it honest. But yeah, I just feel like he was trying to cover up for her. And that's why they did it. And I know that he was doing it because when she came back and told me about how she was being treated, sending little things she was telling me about, she's a kid, you know what I'm saying? She just want to hang out with the kids and have fun. That's all she was thinking about. She didn't know she was walking into a situation where she was going to be left amongst people who weren't taking care of her. Like, the girlfriend had my child bathing her daughter. Like, my child is 10 at the time. Your child is 6. Or you know what I'm saying, leaving alcoholic drinks out for the kids to drink. Like, it's just a lot. It was so much, and this is words coming from her mouth, you know what I'm saying? But I generally feel like they made her feel like weird about it. And if you got a whole bunch of adults like peering down in your face that are all on the same team, nobody's there to advocate for you, you, of course, would bend to their will. But that day that she basically confirmed that she did it, and she said she made a mistake, and her hand just slipped by. First of all, what the fuck is you doing in the bathroom with her? She's capable of bathing herself. You had no reason to be in the restroom with her. Okay? And yeah, so I wasn't buying it then, and I ain't fucking buying it now. Like, what do you mean? So anyway, she tells him that it's an accident, and all of a sudden, he's got to go. He's got to get off the phone. He'll call me back to talk about it later. Do you know my child came back and told me that he actually, they were mean to her. The children was aggressive to her. He spanked her. So he was basically, trying to scare her into submission and not, have her tell that information. Basically say, she was lying. When all she wanted was to be able to be around her people, her cousins, little kids. She wanted to play. She ain't studying that other shit. What I'm saying? That's not how she was thinking. She didn't think that she would have to be around her abuser. He actually told me that she wasn't even gonna stay. Then he, come to find out she's really with the current girlfriend in her apartment. The whole time we didn't even know that they were in close proximity. I called to try to find out, like, I didn't want to get anybody involved. So at first, but after him not listening, I'm sitting up calling the sister, and I'm like, first of all, I'm texting the mom, like, what the fuck? And she's not even answering me. The sister answers. I message her on Facebook. She answers. We was friends on Facebook at the time. She answers. This motherfucker pretends like she don't even fucking know where they at. Come to find out, they all close, thick as thieves. So she definitely knew where they were, and tried to pretend like everybody's doing all this covering up. Mind you, this girl then basically said the lady did do it. Maybe she made a mistake. You didn't make a mistake. You didn't make a mistake. You didn't make a mistake. You pretended like you were interested, and then you took your chance. And that's what people like who are be like, no, girl, like, fuck. And I just, at the time, previous to that, I just first talked, like they say, it's just like, that's just how they are. Like, they're just very fresh, you know? But you just took that shit way too far. Like, you got out of hand. And, you know, he tried to take her when she said that he was mean to her. She said he stopped coming to pick her up. He wouldn't even show up at the girl. Like, that's how I know he doing her the same way he do everybody. And yeah, so call the spirits, end up going, call the spirits, she ended up coming back. He brought her back, said all type of crazy shit, which I have in a text message. Just like, I got a receipt for everything I got to say. Yeah, so text messages, him talking all crazy. This whole time, he's completely denying the fact that he's engaged and he's with a family. But then he, gets mad, and miraculously, all of a sudden, they're one big happy family. I didn't leave for any other reason other than I didn't feel comfortable in my space. And I didn't feel safe around them anymore. They were deceptive. She was telling me stories about how they would jump on the cousins' girlfriends, like out the blue. People wouldn't see them coming. Like, she was trying to intimidate me, And for a second, it worked because people genuinely, don't see them like that. Or even if the people who did see them like that, it's a whisper, like some shit talked about behind their back. Like, they'll say she's a leech behind her back, but never to her face type shit, or he's a user. That never to his face though. Like, and that was the confusing part, because people would come say things to me and still hang out with them. You would call her a leech and you go on vacation with her. You would say he was a loser, he was this, he was that, but then he at your shit like every fucking day. Y'all hanging out, y'all thick as thieves, y'all having the greatest time ever. Like, which one is it? So, yeah, that was confusing. That was gaslighty. It was confusing as fuck over the years. It just really was. And overall, today, I just really needed to be lighter. And I have been holding the end of that story for so fucking long. And I've just stood by and watched them pretend like they these great people, and they're not. Always sticking your nose in somebody's business, very messy. Condoning abuse. Among other things, but we ain't gonna get into that today. But the whole situation, all inclusive, like a very evil group of people is how I would sum it up. And obviously that's not all inclusive. If you was good to us and you wasn't low down, it wasn't that. the moral of the story is believe what your shit show you. That's the moral of the story. The moral of the story is never not listen to your children, which the moral of the story is leave room for your discernment. No matter what. No matter what. Even if everybody against you, even if everybody be like, no, that ain't how it went down, da-da-da-da-da. Like, never, allow yourself to be played with in that way mentally, because they will do it. You're on a spiritual path. You can see them, and they're like, no, you can't see me. That's not true. I didn't do that. That never happened. Like, the fuck? So just be mindful. Just be mindful of that type of energy. I judge everyone I see hanging out with them. I judge you because there's no way. Eyes wide shut. Like, there's no way you didn't know. I refuse to believe that. Some people probably didn't know, but other people, you knew. You were privy every step of the way. So shit pops off. Kid finally comes home. I flipped the fuck out on the bitch. Sorry. Not sorry. Because, girl, what you doing? What you mean? What you mean you and his sister signed my child up for school? What you mean you did that? You got 5 kids. You ain't think to call me and ask me what the fuck was going on as a black woman? Okay. You think something was fishy? No, because you was trying to destiny swap and you felt like that was your role and that she was your child. You was even telling people after meeting my child, like not even 2-3 weeks, that was your bonus kid and da-da-da, like nutty as a fucking Snicker bar, bro. Nutty. And if hindsight being 2020, I look back on that shit and I be like, damn, was I like that? I'm pleading the motherfucking fifth, though, in terms of I'm with whatever Misha told me. Nah, nigga, it's woo-woo. Especially after me finding all that shit and him that girl had been to that witch store and brought all that stuff. He was definitely putting roots on me. Definitely. I just didn't know it. I will never be gaslit again in my life because of that situation. It is what the fuck I think it is. And I'm going to trust my intuition every step of the way. And if I pull my cards and they tell me you ain't shit, you ain't shit. Moral of the story. I was not pulling cards around COVID. And I had just got into that around the time when I was getting ready to walk away from him. So I wish that I had been doing it at that time. Shit, things probably would have been a lot different. And, when he came around to visit again, I be a sucker for if my kid be like, hey, I want to see my dad, I let her see him, you know what I'm saying? But she's to the point where she doesn't even want to be bothered, honestly. So that's no longer a thing, thank God. So I don't have to deal with that part anymore. I can hold the line and keep my boundaries up and not have to be gaslit and tricked into bullshit. This experience has been very interesting. Like I said, there are parts of the story that I have left out. There are timelines, obviously, that are kind of missed. But this, you see, I done talked another fucking hour. So I talked another hour. So you see how long this could go. Like I said, by the time I get ready telling y'all about that one, I've been in another major relationship that was crazy as hell. I had no business marrying young, point blank, period. But yeah, like I could go on and on with the story times. On and on. But the reason why I did this one today is because it's been heavy on my heart. I've been wanting to talk about it. I've been wanting to talk about what they did. And I've been quiet because, like I said, I felt like that was my story to tell. And when she got ready for me to put that information out, she'd tell me. And she did. So now I can... She like, bitch, got that off my chest. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I got that off my chest, and onward and upward we go. Because to me, that was like the last little part that I kind of had to clear out. You know? I don't know. I pull cards about that situation, and it's honestly, the cards say irreparable. It's irreparable. There's no fixing that shit. So, like, even in terms of co-parenting is what I'm on, because obviously relationship wise I'm over that shit. But co-parenting wise, there's just no, it's irreparable. It's irreparable because of the stance that they all took when she came to them and told them what was done to her. So at this point, it's irreparable. Like, I don't see, ain't to me, like, it's just some shit you just can't come back from, you know? So I left, and I'm wherever I'm at. And it's some interesting details with that shit too. But yeah, that's a story for another day. But I'm where I'm at, and I just want to be at peace. I just want to like raise my kid, and the drama, the extra shit, like it just went on for so long. So after that eclipse, after all that shit, I'm just like, yes, I've cleared this cycle out. I'm done. I'm telling my story, and I'm, outside of advocating and speaking to you guys and telling y'all stories and shit like that about things that happened to me, like, that shit don't have to be heavy on me no more. You know what I'm saying? That bothered me because I watched parents speak out for their kids, and I so desperately wanted to say something, and how they are embraced, you know what I'm saying? And they're just bad people. You know, I desperately wanted to say something for so fucking long. So today is just like a major release, honestly. Like, woo, got that out the way. Like, it's been real. I can't say it's been real fun, but it's for damn sure been real. And that was probably one of the most awful 10 years of my fucking life. And I'm almost positive it shifted my DNA in some type of way, like PTSD does you. I'm almost positive it has. I am definitely in my right fucking mind. And I just kept going. You know what I'm saying? I just never stopped. I just kept going. Because if I don't do it, who the fuck else don't do it? You know? So, yeah. Fuck you and your family, bitch. It's a meme, Fred. It's a meme, y'all. It's a meme. Sometimes I like to say you got to laugh to keep from crying. You know what I'm saying? But it's a meme, and it's this little girl, and she get mad, and she screams and yells in the fucking camera, and she's like, fuck you and your family, bitch. And it's so, like, it's never not funny, because she's pissed the fuck off. Like, so fucking funny. But yeah, that's where I got that line from. Horrible. It was a horrible experience. I give it 0 out of 0 fucking stars. Oh, and I warned that bitch. I did what Dearia said women should do. I warned her. I told her, and she ignored me. So, I did my part. I warned her, and she ignored me. I did about that. Now, I'm blasting off on your ass. You know, hey. But... And the reason I say she ignored me, not talking to me, she didn't say she also ain't left. Oh, okay. She's also thick as thieves with the abuser. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's why I said she ignored me. Because not y'all still hanging out. Not y'all still hanging out. And I done told you that you got kids of your own that you should be concerned about. They will try you. If you got something to give the world, if you got a bright light, they will try you. And that's just what it is. So, even when I tell morsels of the story, people be like, oh my God, you're so strong. I've had my moments where I cried and I was upset, and I just don't do that. And plus, the situation and topic was just so fucking sensitive. But they try to silence me, and they try to shut me up, and they done things and underhanded, like I said, abusing the system, reporting people that don't need to be reported, like just doing so much because you mad, because you a freaked out asshole bird, and you mad because you got caught and you got caught out. I'm not ignoring that. I will never, my child will never be able to look back and say my mom didn't, like, and me and her have had those conversations. Like, you will never look back and be able to say that, like, oh, no. That's why I say the shit's irreparable at this point, to be real, for real. It's irreparable, unfortunately. One of them things, ain't it? Trauma. But that's my story, and I'm sticking fucking to it because I got receipts and I have no reason to lie. And again, everybody knows how he is and how she is. Even if it's whispers, they know. My life is different. You can't gas me up, like, make me feel weird and crazy about saying I'm a witch. Like, I can't care. I was being embarrassed the entire time behind my back, so may as well just show up how I want to, in your face. So I don't give a fuck about the gossiping and all this. I could care fucking less because I know all your secrets. So I don't give a fuck. But, I know you for real. So you talking about me is laughable at best. So, I don't know all y'all for real. I know, like, that group, like, the Cross Watchers, like, I know you for real. So talking about me, having dialogue about me is just weird in your circumstances. I can't judge you, and you damn sure can't judge me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that type of energy, like, So what's next? Doing what I do best. And healing and reclaiming my power in my life after I have been robbed of it for damn near a fucking decade. Yeah. But that's all I got. I love you guys. I appreciate you for supporting me, like I was saying. And I'm going to come back through. This lasted way longer than I thought. I'm going to come back through with a reading. Or I might go live on TikTok. I don't know. We'll see. And yeah. That's that. That's that, guys. I'll be back. Happy fucking first of the month. Hit them with it. And this ain't April Fool. Nah. I'm not going to say April Fool. Unfortunately, this shit actually happens. The truth is stranger than fiction. And I'm going to leave it at that. We'll chat soon, okay? I'll usually say, let me know in the comment. But, honestly, I don't need any validation about this story. But if, I know sometimes people have had similar experiences. And, if you feel like you want to share your story, you want to have some sort of dialogue about it, then, of course, go for it. But you're not alone, okay? People wonder about my lore all the fucking time when I be doing predictions, and people be wanting to know. And I can tell you, I have lots of lore. I've lived many lifetimes in this one setting, and I'm telling you, like, you're not alone. It is exactly what the fuck you think it is, and yes, bitches is very much that fucking simple. And some of them will look the other way, like those aunties that had when they happened to that girl. Unfortunately, God rest her soul. I hope they put that bitch up under the motherfucking jail. But, yeah, so are you dummies. The ops. Like, oh my God. Oh, tragic. It's tragic. It's a walking cliche, honestly. It's sad. That situation, walking cliche. But that's all I got, guys. We'll chat soon. Bye.